Women of Reddit, what hobbies do you find unattractive in men? What's the opinion on model trains? I exist because a woman was into a guy who was into model trains. Really into them. You should see their backyard. Working. I'm not even lying. I met a dude once whose only hobby is working. When he's at work, he works. And when he's at home, he also works. And during holidays, it's also him and his PPT plus Excel sheets. Man can't even watch an entire movie without typing away on his financial report. And when there's no work, he becomes extremely grumpy. Day drinking. Being married / in love with a high functioning alcoholic is soul crushing. Honestly, crypto. I could make an exception if they clearly know what they're doing. But most people who are super into cryptocurrency to the point where it's their entire personality are falling for scams. If all of the world's scams were packed into a department store, MLMs would be the pink girl toy aisle, and cryptocurrency would be pretty much the same thing, but painted blue in the boy toy aisle. So many scams out there. A couple of years ago I Wolf said, being a gym rat. Now I'm dating one, and he's just a massive nerd that likes sharing neat facts about muscles. And I'm really into nerds, so RIP. Lol, I love the idea that a gym bro is really just a muscle nerd. Collections of belly button lints. As a man I love gardening, but my girlfriend took it over. My old GF took over my garden, and I lost a hobby. Then she started to do it nude / for the vitamin D, and my hobby changed to watching. Now we both tend the garden that way. Vaping, as in they make their own flavors and modified devices, and then blow smoke rings everywhere to look cool. Being way too into gaming, like yeah, it's totally fine to have an interest and be excited about it, but if you don't talk to me for 3 days straight BC you're glued to your PlayStation chugging Red Bulls the entire time, no thanks. Or if you only invite me over to watch you play and don't want to do literally anything else with me, I'm good. Or if I'm over while you play and we're discussing something and you don't listen to a word I'm saying, just don't even text me. I sort of dated a guy who was really into cars, and part of the reason we didn't work out was that he just wanted to talk about cars all the time and spent like too much money on car parts. I don't judge people who are into cars, that's cool for them, but it's just not interesting to me. And if a guy's going to talk about cars constantly and spend all his money on a car, IDK, we can't hang out. I can't handle it. When they spend the majority of their time watching YouTubers. Reddit. This isn't a hobby, it's a lifestyle. Having voracious gay sex. I'm not a woman, but my girlfriend hates when I do that. Human taxidermy. Sports fan. The kind that screams at the TV, can't miss watching a game, etc. I think the aggressiveness over a game is just a turn off. Anime / manga, but specifically the very misogynistic or fan service kind. If you collect little statuettes with huge tits, I'm sorry, but I'm not into it. Can confirm my wife does not find Elden Ring sexy, even if I wear a pot in the bedroom and offer to put her foolish ambitions to rest. Hunting for pleasure. It's strange to me. If you want a deer for meat, that's one thing. But trophy kills, killing for sport, that's a red flag. I've dated men with every single hobby imaginable. Each has its pros and cons. Just don't gatekeeper your hobby. Here's my top 3 picks. Bassists are the best of the musicians. They don't need to feel the need for glory, but can get you in for free. Plus they are great with their fingers. LARPers are usually strong and can definitely win a fight if you needed it, lol. But I will say that my favorite is Warhammer. Model painters are awesome. They can paint your nails perfectly, can color match, sort of, and usually have excess money. Plus, the likelihood of them cheating on you is incredibly low. They are busy making models. Spending tons of time on social media, Snapchat, Instagram, OnlyFans, etc. ogling or interacting with random women, just gross. Oozes insecurity, female objectification, and desperate need for shallow attention for validation. Hobbies are great, especially if you want to share them with others, as long as you're not immersed in it 24/7 to avoid feelings, loved ones, or reality. Shows immaturity and avoidance of growth. Nobody's perfect, but if you're trying to fill every second of your day with distractions, then there's no way you'll have time to be fully present for someone else. Why would we waste our time or take you seriously? Getting drunk. For some people, it is their favorite pastime. I like to party and go out and have fun, but someone whose idea of fun every weekend or every night is just going to the bar or somewhere else for the sole purpose of getting drunk. So boring. A huge red flag, and I'm someone who can't keep a bottle of whiskey in the house for more than 4 or 5 days without draining it, so I'm not a teetotaler or anything. Drinking, smoking, and excessive partying. Most of the time, if it's a free night, the first thought is let's go to the bar and get fucked up. Don't you have any hobbies or goals outside of getting fucked up every night and all day? Spending money they don't have on overpriced trendy clothes. Just spending money they don't have is already a bad sign. Toenail and fingernail collections. Also murdering women for their hands. That's pretty bad too. For some reason, I've always found martial arts a turn-off hobby. I have no idea why. It's not about the sports themselves, but like the stereotype of guys I associate with them. Anyway, then I met my boyfriend who does jiu-jitsu, and I'm glad he proved me wrong. My ex-GF hated that I still bought basketball and Pokemon cards. And I only buy them like twice a year. Just an $8 pack of Pokemon and a $12 box of basketball. This year I haven't even looked at them. Really ruined it for me. Organ harvesting. Aspiring SoundCloud rapper. Cross-dressing. I'm divorced now. OnlyFans. Being an influencer or that sort of thing. I'm low-key and I want someone like that too. Someone who isn't easy to find or has a lot of females around him. Guys that are really into collecting vinyl records and they have them hung all over their walls. They catalog them on a spreadsheet and organize them and reorganize them alphabetically or by genre, etc. They will literally bore you to death with their record player setup. Status symbol hobbies. Buying knockoff designer shoes and telling everyone they are real. Spending $3,000 on watch even though you $20,000 in credit card debt. Gross. As a physician, motorcycles. In the ed I worked at for a while, we used to call them murdercicles. The death and major injury rate is so stupid. I once had a guy who came in with both femurs broken, a broken hip, a major concussion, and a broken spine. He said the first thing he would do when he got out and got better was go for another motorcycle ride. I feel like the adrenaline rush and social acceptance among riders might be addictive or something. Personally, with everything I've seen, I find it very unattractive and see it as just another addiction. Being a furry. A high school ex of mine was one. He had really weird fetishes that he would insist on doing. He would pretend that he was a wolf in a past life and wrote really elaborate erotica of his fursona and mine having fantastical impossible bestial sex. And then sometimes he'd draw it really poorly and spained as well. He'd chat with me with really cringe roleplay dialogue and it would turn sexual almost immediately every time. NASCAR. Even if we weren't on the brink of climate catastrophe, it is still so wasteful and boring. And a little gross, because they can't deny they kinda want to see someone get hurt real bad. I dated a guy who absolutely refused to eat almost all fruits and veggies. He said he'd eat an apple once a year and potatoes were the only vegetable he'd eat semi-regularly. Sorry, but I'm not going to date a man who has no variety in his diet, who will not try new things because of a veggie. Also, good way to get a heart attack before you're 50 if all you're eating is meat and potatoes. Bodybuilding. I would never discourage or look down on someone who wanted to do that, but my dad's been a gym rat my whole life, so it's not an attractive quality I'd look for in a partner. Like, we can be friends, but I'm not dating my dad's clone. My husband's and father of our 4 and 5-year-old hobby is resting, sleeping or pretending like he's sleeping almost all day till 4 or 5 p.m. every weekend while I care for the kids. It's become more and more unattractive with time. Spitting, not a hobby, but I still hate it. Otherwise, as long as it doesn't frighten or harm others, it is fine. I don't have to always participate if I don't like it. Actively and openly pulling their underwear down out of their ass cracks by pinching their pants between thumb and forefinger from the outside. Even worse if the pants are pleated. Not a hobby, but I still hate it. Okay, this after some weird experience, but Nerds I like, the ones who watch anime, but it's not their entire personality, and Lord of the Rings. Nerds I do not like, the ones who only watch and worship Star Wars. Mansplaining. You wouldn't think it was a hobby, but I have met plenty of men who like to engage in debate for fun, but it was really just mansplaining. It makes them feel good about themselves and smart. Leave it at the door. Engage in conversation with active listening. Then debating can be a hobby we can both enjoy together. In UK, Ireland, and probably the rest of Europe, there is a lot of soccer leagues and televised matches. It seems to consume all of soccer fans' free time, and I don't like soccer, so I don't think I could be with someone that does. Friends and relatives' partners disappear from big events like weddings, even funerals to watch matches. They always seem pissed and never do anything together. I'm sure there's loads of lovely soccer fans out there, but I don't think we'd ever get a chance to spend time together doing something we'd both enjoy. Men who play MMORPGs or similar like WoW, Travian, etc. Those games are way too addictive, and I've seen too many posts from women who have partners who won't even look after their children or do anything in their real lives over spending hours on these games. They're an addictive and dangerous hobby that wastes not just time, but a lot of money too. I enjoy standard gaming and have no problem with that, but would never date a guy who liked online games. I briefly dated a guy who was very into Super Smash Bros. I like Super Smash Bros, don't get me wrong, but this dude dedicated his life towards it. He streamed on Twitch, posted YouTube videos, and those things are whatever, but the weird thing is he joined a league at a nearby university that he didn't even go to, and he couldn't do a lot of things due to needing to be at tournaments. He was also 30 plus, so IDK. Pooping. Hate when guys do that. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please subscribe and hit the like button.